Welcome back to Saathwic Infotech DevOps Learning Series. So, as part of this learning session, we are going to see about how do I make my functions are reusable across to my team members and across projects too. Okay, using Unix shell scripts, right? So, okay. So, let me go to our directory. Okay. So yesterday I have created till day 14. Let me copy this as day 15. So that it will take my today's changes. Okay, let us see how the script is. So yesterday I was saying you about some clue, right? So when you write your script, okay, reusable, okay, it doesn't means that okay it was like completely reusable. For example, let's take an example, right? Let me open a notepad. Okay. So when I write some script, it's not completely reusable. What does it mean? For example, let's take this example. Okay, for example, I want to uh, read okay a bucket information from the AWS. Okay, so for example, like there is a function you keep writing. Okay, basically you are writing a shell script which needs to read all the bucket information from an account. Okay, it can be based on name or it can be based on tags or whatever it is, right? Okay, for that you will be like creating multiple functions, right? So for example, okay, connect to AWS. Okay, so it will this function connect to AWS is a function which is going to be used by any team member or any project member whenever they want to connect to AWS. So if you write within, when you write these functions within your script, it is only visible to your script alone. Okay, that's a challenge, right? So okay, then okay, connect to S3 and list bucket. Okay, then either after connecting to S3 you can filter, or you can filter along with while connecting itself, like it's up to you. Okay, so you are writing a two functions here. So if these two functions are separated, if these two functions are taken out of your script, okay, where I create a separate script called function.sh or something like that, which can be reused in any of your scripts or any of the team member scripts. So that's what we are planning to try here. Okay, for example, okay, let me move out of all these scripts, right? Let me control this, insert escape q. Okay, let me create a new file called function.sh, or maybe it can be your team name.sh or whatever it is, right? So okay, so let me paste the script here. Okay, so let's see. So what are the things I am going to do? So if you look at everywhere, in most of the scripts you see, I am using like echo, date, info, or warning, error. Let me write that also as a function, right? Maybe like put like log message. Okay, I have a function called log message. What it's basically going to do is going to echo. Okay, it's going to have, okay, maybe I will introduce you to a different thing. Okay, if you want to execute any commands within shell script, either you go with this tick symbol or you go with this. So ideally I will always prefer to use this because that doesn't create any confusion with your single quotes. But as for our practice, right, I am using this, so let me use that too. Okay, then I am going to put like $1, oh, 1 2 3 4 $2. Maybe I will add some 4 spaces, 2 3 4. So what's happening here, right? So I am templating. See here, everywhere like I want to copy paste the all these details, right? So if you look at every time I did copy paste just to get the same structure for logging. So when I write it as a function, I don't want to do that. It's going to be automatically taken care by my function. So that's what I did. Okay, what I am going to do now here? So let me remove this log. Oh, sorry. Log message. So if you remember, I might have said you. So in Linux, the parameters, right? goes with spaces. For example, info is first parameter and validating is the second parameter, but I need the complete string to be my parameter, so I need to enclose this with double quotes. Okay, so now what Linux will do, it will treat the entire thing as a second parameter and info as a first parameter. Okay, so now so that it goes to this function and print the statement. Simple. Okay, the same way I'm going to do everywhere here. I'm log underscore message. I don't want this. Let me delete all these things. Let me come to warning. Let me go out here. Let me delete everything. Okay, it's done. Let me delete out this. Insert log underscore message. The first variable will be like this. So second value, let me put double quotes. Okay, it's done. So going forward, wherever I want to log any information, I am just going to give info what type of log it is and the actual description of the message, so that my log function is going to take care of it. And also this validate user availability is again separated out of our script. Let me save this function. Let me go to day 15. Okay, I don't want anything to be displayed here. Let me delete all these lines, right? Okay, so okay, again, so if you want to convert this also, right, any echo statement, so any echo statement you can convert that. Okay, ideally we don't want this because like we are not, that's has been done for debugging purpose. Let me remove this also. Insert log underscore message space. Okay, the same way here also. See, that's the beauty, right? See, for example, whenever I use echo statement, I did not see in this echo statement, I did not even use date and messages, so which is like kind of causing the issue, right? Because I don't know at what time this error has happened. So maybe I will say error usage because I am exiting out. So this is the right way of doing it. Most of the team members might be following it already if their team has been done a good of codings. Okay, so okay, this is not only like, okay, remember guys, this is not only going to help you just with Linux shell scripting, right? Wherever you go, okay, you need to think on like how to reuse the codes. Okay, in case of it's a Python, right? If it's a Python, like people will create a separate package even. Okay, I have seen like many places like where people will create a complete separate package which has all the reusable functionality. So all the projects within that team or anything, right? So they will ideally use that. Okay, let me show you the beauty of it, right? So maybe in shortly you will understand. Okay, maybe log underscore message info. Yep. Okay. Okay. Okay, it should have an exit here ideally. Okay, let's look at the day 15 right now. If you look at, so I converted all my things to it, right? So now what happens? Now you should have a basic question. Okay, Kumar, right? Okay, you created as a separate script now. How do those scripts are visible to this parent script, right? Let's take function.sh is another script. Actually, it's another script. Our day 15 is a separate script. How do I ensure like, okay, my day 15 knows the functions created in function.sh? Okay, you know, right? If you look at, I think there is a session which I clearly explained about like using environment configuration files or something like that. I think in day 3 or day 4 I have explained about it. Okay, if you understood that clearly, okay, whenever you log into any session, there are few default files which is getting executed, okay, which is nothing but your bash rc and other files, right? So during that time I might have explained you how a file is getting called within a file. Okay, when I say about etc bash rc file or whether it's a local file, I might have explained you how these configuration files are like interconnected. So the same way with the same logic, right? I am going to use dot function dot sh. Okay, I think function or functions. Yeah, it's function dot. So now if you look at, okay, sorry. If you look at what I am doing is, I am saying Linux execute this script and pass the output to this particular shell or to this particular session or in this inside this script. So whatever the function which I created are visible to the script also. Okay, if you have any doubts you can verify our earlier session where probably you will see this only this as a difference, like they will be using like dot slash. You will see something like dot slash, whereas why I have not used it here, because like we have already exposed this as in this particular path in our path variable. Okay, so that's the reason like, okay, I was explaining you all those details by taking too much of time. Okay, you need to understand the basics. Okay, most of the well written scripts in your projects will have this kind of functionality. So most of the variables will be declared in a file, most of these functions will be declared in a separate file where you will see, okay, this function.sh. For example, when you have multiple environments like dev uat prod, for each environment they will be calling like, okay, dev env.sh. If env is equal to this server, execute this environment file. If env is prod, execute this, something like that. Okay, it has its own variants, right? So in our case I am just using function.sh by general. Okay, before that what I should give, I need to give execute permission to 7552 function.sh and day 15. Okay, let me execute the day 15 now. Let's see what is the difference you are having. I'm going to say lock oracle. Do you see any difference now? It worked in the same way. Day 15 unlock oracle, it worked in the same way. Day 715 unlocking something, I am just giving some random functionality which is not there in our user, not there in our script, so that it should execute by saying like, okay, invalid request. Okay, so this is how you have to actually ensure that the reusability happens. Okay, in most of the places we know like, okay, there will be like many environment variables. Okay, when I say environment variables, some system says that, okay, your aws credentials. Okay, if you have a vault, it's well and good. If you don't have a vault, it's your responsibility to keep this environment variable. And again, even though if you don't want to expose that directly, there are other ways of like encrypting and keeping it, and during the access time you can decrypt. There are many ways of doing it. I will show you everything in our upcoming session. Okay, I just thought of showing this like converting it to a complete reusable function as a short video. Okay, if you have any doubts and queries, please raise it then and there. From next session onwards we are going to see about the advanced concept, like okay, how do you set up like passwordless connectivity from one server to other server and other things like that. It's like mainly to educate yourself how you are going to connect with your EC2 instances or VM servers when you work on Azure or AWS. Okay, because that's the main reason, like okay, I want to cover all the each and every steps in a separate session. Okay guys, thanks you.